Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I know our speaker isn't here yet. I'm not exactly sure where he is. I know he's on his way, and he's been here before. So, oh, good. In fact, they just got here. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and then when he gets into the room, then he can go ahead and address us. If you guys will, let's go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you'll stand as you're able, join me in the pledge. Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, we will go ahead and get through our business really quickly. We never have too much to do. Is Karen here? No? Okay. John, do you have an affirmative action report this month? No? Okay, perfect. We will go ahead and pause it there. When we come back, Rebecca, if you've got a report, you can start. If not, I've got a couple to give. So, okay. Today, our guest speaker is Adam Martin, candidate for U.S. House of Representatives. Last month, we met his competition. And so today, you guys get a chance to see what his campaign is about and ask him some questions. Hopefully, he'll be able to stick around and answer any individual questions you might have after the meeting. But if not, make sure you get your guys' questions in while you have the opportunity. Without any further ado, Adam, if you want to come up and give us your speech, we'd love to hear it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you. I'm going to stand in front of this for this too. Okay. There we go. Let's get situated first. All right, first off, thank you guys for coming tonight. I'm Adam Martin. I'm running for Congress here in CD1. A little bit about myself. I was raised in Wagner, Oklahoma by a single mother, grandmother. Come from a great family though. And so leaving Wagner, was always in my dreams to go do something better for my life. Because growing up, I was always told that you could be anything you want to be. So as a young kid and getting older, I was like, I want to challenge that and I want to give it everything I have. And so growing up there, I was raised in the church. I'm a Christian above all. So my values are important. So in embarking into leaving Wagner, I went to Oklahoma State University. And at Oklahoma State University, I majored in history. And after leaving there, I got accepted into law school. But I didn't take the deal. I actually ended up coming to Tulsa and working at Gable Gutwalls for about 7 months and then left there, and I'm at McAfee and Taft now. But during that time period, I actually got involved in the party. And getting involved in the party was very important to me because I've always been entwined with politics. I always loved it, always wanted to do something in it, and always seen myself in a leadership position. And I always seen the things that was surrounding us was, not fitting, everyone. It was only fitting that certain demographic. And so growing up in a red line community, I saw that firsthand. I saw that how my friends, when I go to their homes, they lived a drastically different life than I did. And so at that time growing up, that was when I saw there was a different socioeconomic group, as such as I'll call it. And so I knew then that there was a problem, but I didn't know what it was about growing up. It was a norm. But as I got older, started asking more questions, obviously going off to Oklahoma State, learning these things and understanding these things, they're a problem because a lot of people have been left behind. And so I've always been in a leadership position, even when it was in high school, going into college, I played sports. So sports taught me how to be a leader, how to understand communication, how to understand that things aren't always going to go your way, but you got to keep going. And that's what I bring to this competition, such as running for Congress, is I'm willing to do the work. I'm willing to be that new voice, new ideas. When I first started my campaign, I didn't know who was going to run. I didn't know how all these things were going to go. It was new. I'm 25. And that was going to be a topic of question. This guy's 25, no experience. Why you? Well, I'm here to tell you tonight why me is because I care about these issues. I've lived these experiences, and I'm not saying that I'm the say all be all, but I know that I got my heart in the right place to do the right thing for CD1 and for the people that it really truly means something to. And I want to be able to represent you guys in Washington to show that Oklahoma is not just a conservative state, but we are a people state. Because I think what's been forgotten is that you don't work for them, they work for you. And I think in the guy's position that's in the position now, Hearn, I think he's forgotten that he believes that you guys work for him and he doesn't work for you guys. And that's not how it should be. When he comes to campaign, he needs to come to everyone's meeting. He needs to come to everyone's thing. I'm not saying he can make it to everyone, but show your face. Don't only show up whenever it's time for election time. And I want to set that standard now, that I don't just show up to Baldwinville when I'm about to get reelected, but I'm also talking to you guys as chair or whoever's in charge of whatever's going on, so we can stay entwined and I can know what's going on in this community. So today, I just wanted to tell you guys, you know, living in Stillwater, I also went through tough times. I ended up living out of my car my sophomore year of college. So that's when I say I know what the average American is dealing with when it comes to being able to pay for college. I understand those struggles. When it talks about healthcare, I understand those struggles. I hurt my ankle in college playing basketball, just playing around, and I got $1,000 bill. And as a college kid not having money, that's expensive. And if you don't pay it right away, it goes towards your credit. So I understand that. And living out of my car in Stillwater, I just worked hard. I buckled down. I didn't want to go back to Wagner, so I buckled down and got 2 jobs. I worked 2 jobs and I knew that if I was going to get out of that predicament, I was going to have to apply myself. I was going to have to lean onto those standards of what I've always prayed about, saying that if God is in it, I can do it. And so I had to lean on those morals for myself and believe it. And it turned out to be great. It was a great opportunity for me. And I'm thankful that I went through those things because it taught me how to work hard, even when things are stacked against you. And so that's what I bring to this position, that whenever things are stacked against me, you'll know firsthand right now from getting to know me tonight that I won't quit. I will not give up, and I will work for you because I know how important this job is. I may not have a career in this, but I know that it's important to do this job effectively for the constituents and the people that it is there to protect, because our democracy is intact right now. And I believe if we are going to live up to American dream that anything is possible, that our democracy has to be protected first, and our morals have to be challenged. And they are being challenged right now. When we see tonight with the voting and them going on a bill that needs to be voted on so we can get things moving forward. But there's always people with other political agendas. And that's why I say that with me being in charge in this position, I know that I'll do the right thing first above all else, because that's important. I'll bring that same determination to Congress. I'm running because we must stand up for what is right. I'm running for Congress because there are serious problems facing America in Oklahoma, and it is time for real solutions, and I'm ready to be a part of those solutions. Thank you, guys. You guys have any questions? Thank you.
I have a question. When you talk about your priorities, when you talk about what you've gone through in your perspective, what are your 2 or 3 top priorities in your campaign for this area?
So So like I dealt with healthcare, quality healthcare, equitable education, and working families. So my family was a working family. You know, we didn't have a whole lot, but we worked with what we had. And as a young kid, I didn't see what they sacrificed until I got older to understand what they did. And when we talk about education, such as what I've talked about, going through the things and the trials that I went through growing up in Wagner, and, you know, talking about healthcare, I told what my stance is on that and how important that is, because people should be able to qualify for safe healthcare for everyone. And so I think not only that, but we also got to understand there's a lot of topics, a lot of things that need to be discussed. And I'll go into that later on as this campaign gets going forward. But right now, those are my main 3 that are really important to get honed in, because I think they need to be addressed. And, you know, yeah. Yes, sir.
So if you get sent to Congress, what would be your plan?
Say it one more time. Yeah.
Would
So,
you mind reframing the question for the people who are joining us?
okay.
Because they may not be able to hear.
Okay, so his question is, once I'm in Congress, what will I do to combat the conversations and the tactics that they're using to go against us as Democrats? Our democracy, yeah. 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 So I think personally speaking that we need to come together. Now that's a broad topic right there saying come together, but I want to push that. I want to challenge that. So we got people there saying that they want to work for us, but how are they going to work for us if they have other interests at heart? And so right then and there, I will set the tone and set the example that I want to do the right thing first above all else, that we need to come together, and then you guys attacking us and us attacking you, however it's going, we got to come together to make these things effective. So I don't know if I answered your question totally, but that's my agenda right there, getting there to do the right thing, you know, getting there to. Okay. Mhm. Yeah. So I think a bill being pushed will be important, but I haven't really got to a name for that per se. I think that's kind of what you're looking for. I don't have a name for that. You know, I'm still working on that, but I do know I do understand where you're coming from, and I do understand that. But I just can't answer that at this time because I do have a plan, but it's just I don't have a set. You know what I mean? Because I'm still learning a lot of things. I'm trying to put these things in together, how I can address it effectively. So I'm getting out and meeting voters to see what everyone is dealing with, what's important to them, and how I can perform that change. Because I promise you, man, I'm going to give it everything I got. I said that from the very beginning. So, yeah, I'll come up with a better. I'll answer your question another time, but I will get on that. I promise you.
Right now, you know, you're going to be in primary, so it's Democrat against Democrat. But once you pass that primary and you're there as the on the ballot, how are you going to get a Republican to look at your views and listen to you?
Yeah. Well, I think that's where that's unique. Me being myself, being a Christian, understanding that I'm a man that believes in doing the right thing and pushing that narrative and making sure people understand who I am above all else, because I can get all the hard questions and they're going to ask me everything, I'm sure, and they're going to be wanting to answer right then and there. But, you know, I know what I want to do that in my heart is the right thing to do. Now, I may not have all those answers. And so what I'll do is to, you know, really just speak on those things, speak on who I am and just show the example. So those Republicans that are on the fence, like saying, well, they're radical, because right now they're looking at us Democrats saying we're more radical. They call us Antifa, all the things that they call us, you know, but I think us setting the tone, such as myself, that I'm in this to win, that I'm in this thing to bring forth change for everyone and not just, you know, CD1, but really the nation, the country, because what decisions you make there, they affect everyone else. And what Oklahoma can do is we can be that example to everyone else. So if we set the tone, and which is such as what I want to do, I'm gonna set the tone, and then other people will buy into that, I hope. Now, we know that's a long shot, but that's what I'll do to kind of reach across the aisle, because I want to make sure that the point of who I am above all, that I'm a man of my word, that I'll stand by what I say, and I will work on day one on figuring out some way so we can get this thing done, getting a team together, such as with you guys, if you guys have other ideas, or hey, I think this will work. Just juggling those ideas so we can get something effectively done, so we can address those issues to pull people from the other side to on my side to reach across the aisle. Yeah.
Well, you know, most of the questions, most of the attacks I was getting today.
Yeah.
Was, well, we have 200 million refugees coming.
Yep.
And okay, we only have 300 million people in the
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what we're getting bombarded with. Refugees taking our jobs, we don't want to help them, and socialists, and Biden is, you know, he's got dementia.
Mhm.
That was the whole thing this afternoon.
Yeah, I got attacked too. I got attacked with it. We both did. And so, and to go off of what you're talking about, that guy was definitely, you know, reaching for a lot of things that he wasn't going to get from me. And so basically, you know, they want to come up with everything on that side to say why we're wrong, why we aren't fit, and why we need to just back off and not run. You know, that's the whole reason to get involved right then and there, because they want to come up with all these scenarios of why we're just whatever. We're bringing, you know, everything. There was something I wanted to say, but that's not the moment to say it right now. But they want to say a lot of things about us, and that's a fine. But that's why, that's the whole reason for us to get involved. That's the whole reason for us to take this serious and to elect people and get candidates out there that are truly, really in this to win and in it to do the right thing above all, and understand that their constituents come first. And such as him, you know, some things, some people like that, you can't win them over. You can't win over them all. And so his agenda was already in place right then when he started speaking to us. So I didn't exclude him out. And that's where it goes back to the question of how we're going to win them over. I listen. Above all else, anything that I do, I listen. I don't do a whole lot of talking. I'll listen because I want to know what's bothering you, what's affecting you, and how can I be of help, of assistance to help you, because I work for you. You don't work for me. And so I'm trying to set that tone with my campaign, that this is serious business. I've raised over $10,000. I think I'm doing pretty well, but I'm going to need everyone to jump on board with this, because it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to be something that just pops up. We got to show these people that we mean business as Democrats. We got to be supportive of those Democrats, and we got to get out there and work in any capacity that we can to show that we mean business and that we aren't just some walkover. And you aren't going to just talk about how we bring refugees over here. That's disrespect. You know what I mean? And so we got to get angry with them, but with compassion, with respect. But listen, we're going to listen to you, but we're going to work. We're going to show you that what you're talking about is wrong. And that's been my whole message starting off, is new voice, new ideas. And I'm going to do everything I can to be effective, to listen, and to be that change that we need. And those solutions will happen. I believe it, because if we're going to work on these things now, our next generation is watching us, right? And so if we're going to set the tone now, I want to set the tone more than ever, because I won't live for a long time. I'm 25, but I won't live forever. And my grandkids and their kids are going to have to live in this democracy. And I want to make sure that it's been said that Adam, our grandfather, whoever, he gave it everything he had. He listened, he cared, and he worked hard for his constituents. And so I want to leave that there. So that's how you reach across the aisle. I listened to him. I listened to what he had to say. And then he came up with something else. I hate to ramble right now, but he came up with something else about the 1960s. And he was totally off on that, because I'm like, you know, with the 1960s and families and talking about how the Black man was not in the home with their families, you know, I thought that was unique, because, you know, the 1960s was way worse, and there was a lot more that took the Black man out of his, you know, we had segregation in the 60s, you know, and then yeah. And so, yeah. That's what he talked about with me. And then, you know, I also had to let him know a little bit of history, because me being a history guy, that's important too. And so I try to use it, degree, as much as I can when I get opportunities, such as this campaign has been helpful to use my degree. And I'm not trying to say that I'm the smartest in the room, but I also want to know what I'm talking about. And I know in the 80s, you know, we look at the crack epidemic and how one was a powder, one was a solid. You know, you look at them differently, and how the Reagan administration pound on the war on drugs. You know, you look at that was being taken men out there. So you can look at a lot of different scenarios and say this was that, this was that. But you know, the whole reason of what I'm talking about right now and why I'm here is because we need to come up with better solutions to these problems that we are facing in this country. And we need to set the tone here in CD1, and we just got to believe it. Sometimes we may not understand how it's going to go. We may not understand, like when I lived out of my car, I didn't understand how it was going to work out, but I believed. I believed that it was going to work out, but also with believing, I put in work. So I made sure that I left no doubt that what I did here meant something to me, and that I was working towards getting to something bigger than myself. And God, I feel like, put me in this position where I'm at now here. And so I'm taking it with full steam ahead, and I'm going to work hard, and I'm going to give it everything I got on day one.
yourself as far as the legal career affecting things like voting rights, civil rights? There's a lot of things that are going on now. We're talking about 1960, but they're still going on.
Yeah.
And I know from talking to my parents, grew up in that era of the 1920s. I can understand. I can't understand it, but I can understand because there was on top of it. There was still. We still got to address it. In Oklahoma, just because we're Oklahoma doesn't mean you don't got that going on. And so all these things are interacting. And I just thought, I want to see where your legal experience, where you see that we can do something.
Yeah.
To make that better.
So so he's asking where's my legal stance at when it talks about what voting rights and just all the things, civil rights, all the things that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
And so my answer to that, I'm not an attorney. So let's make that very clear. I'm just a legal clerk because I didn't take the deal to go to law school. I'm going to go later on, but there was something bigger than me that needed to happen now. So I'm here. Okay. So to speak on the legal part of that, I would say this. I would say that we have to begin to put in bills that represent America and not put in bills that represent your party. You know what I'm saying? Your constituents, because what they're doing is they're trying to, when you lose, you got to take it as, take it to the chin, as they would say in boxing, right? And so I believe once they lost, they started putting in rules and regulations where they won't lose again and started relining things and all these things that they're doing. We aren't silly. We didn't wake up yesterday. CD1 didn't just wake up yesterday. Oklahoma didn't just wake up yesterday. The nation didn't just wake up yesterday. These things have been going on. They are trying to shape it into a different form, but we are awake. We see what's going on. We're going to get involved. And when it talks about legal stances on that issue, we have to begin to set precedents and look in things that saying, okay, that's not right in this area, and we need to address it effectively. And so we got to get people that agree with our stances on these things and know that they're not right. We don't have the proper, well, let me backtrack. We don't have the proper representation when it comes to such as someone like Hearn speaking on these issues because they're a part of the problem. So let me backtrack and just sum it up, okay? He's a part of the problem. He's not going to address it. That's who we're speaking on because that's what's affecting us. And we're seeing it not only in Oklahoma, such as you said, we're seeing it around the nation. We got to get people that, such as Democrats, people that believe in doing the right thing, and people that believe that our civil rights must be protected because that goes back to a democracy.
The whole thing about the thing with the Holocaust, I guess, you came to this group and we didn't complain because we weren't this soon. There's nobody that's complaining. I mean, I'm in a group, you're in a group, there's other people, there's lots of minorities that we all need to be protected. Yeah, that civil rights is fought for by people give their blood down back in places to get that right. But,
Yeah.
and I don't want to give it.
Yeah, I don't think anyone does. And I really enjoy that question and thank you for answering that. But guys, it just takes getting involved. At the end of all these questions, all the things that we're talking about, because just getting started in this thing, everyone wants to have the answer right then and there. And that's why I say I'm not the say all be all, but I want to be a nail in that problem. I want to keep nailing, because if I keep nailing, I know something effective is going to happen. And if my voice is there, I know that they're going to listen because in this position, they'll listen. And then that won't just be me speaking. That'll be you guys speaking through me because my constituencies know that this is an important issue that needs to be addressed. And I want to make sure on day one that we are truly being effective. And they say, man, look what they did in Oklahoma. They took a seat from someone that was not supposed to happen. And they did it. So that's effective. And then that's where we start to show our next generation, get involved, guys, with the social media, with everything that you're doing, get involved, because that's how we're going to get where we need to go, get over this hill, because it's not going to be easy. I think we all know that. I'm not a millionaire. He is. I hear that every day. I wake up, someone's talking to me, he's a millionaire. How are you going to do that? I'm just going to keep being a good person. I'm going to knock doors. I'm going to keep doing my calls, and I'm going to do the grassroots things that he's not doing because he's comfortable where he's at.
And Oklahoma's a rural state. We only
Yes.
have 2 basic cities in Oklahoma.
Yes.
So how are you going to get the rural community? How are you going to address them? How are you going to get to them?
Okay. So when you speak of rural, such as Wagner,
Wagner,
yes.
Wagner,
Yeah.
all of the small towns.
Exactly.
Democrats out there.
Exactly. There's Democrats out there. I'm from Wagner.
They
So
don't even know we exist.
Yeah. And so with me coming up, there's FFA town. Now I wasn't a part of FFA, but I got my hunter safety license, all those things, right? So I understand what you're saying. It's not going to be easy, but with me showing that I am from a small town, that I understand the small town problems, and I may not know every little minor detail that they may be going through, but I'm going to get to know those things and I'm going to speak on them. I'm going to put them on social media. I'm going to talk about them because they're going to see that I'm speaking on it. And that's going to resonate with those voters. That's going to resonate that this guy really, truly cares about us because he's speaking about little old me. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I'm going to be effective in those towns. I can't go knock there's, too many doors to knock, but what I can do, we can send out literature and they can look me up on social media and they can get involved. And I want to make sure for them to get involved that I'm putting out the right messages that resonate with them, that resonate with voters, that resonate with them because they don't have a lot of money either. So I think I want to challenge, are you really a Republican at the end of the day? Because, this guy doesn't resemble what all of us, are going through, what we're being affected with. And so how we're going to reach them is being genuine, being courteous, and putting out the message that we are here to do the right thing above all else. That's what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah, I got you. I can't address that, say like, I'm going to knock, knock on their doors. But what I'm going to do is do what I can do, what my campaign manager and all the guys that are affiliated with this. And I'm learning from everyone that's been a part of it. That was the first start of my campaign. I wanted to listen. That's what I did. You were at the meeting. I listened. I wanted to hear what was effective and what could I do to really be effective and really go about it the right way that really I can leave a tone, no matter how it goes, that I gave it everything I had. I didn't give up and I listened and I cared about it. And so that's really my stance on that. I can't answer that, but I'll tell you, I'm going to give it everything I have. Now, if I can get those guys to reach across the aisle and say, I want to support that young man because he has a heart that wants to do the right thing, that young man wants to see change and not radical. I'm just a man of God that says that things can change if we get involved. Things can change if we understand where we've come from, because we haven't seen where we can go until we fight for it. And so I want to see our nation. I want to see all of us in a better position in the future. Even if I see it or don't see it, I want to see it. And I want to make sure that I put my hand on the history book and said that, man, I did my part. And even if it doesn't go well or whatever, I'm believing it will. I'm still going to fight every day. Even when I go get my law degree, I'm still going to come back and fight. Because that's what's important. These people's lives are in stake. There's people that are being affected majorly, and they need someone that really will listen to them and not just say that they're a millionaire and own this business and own that business. I don't have those titles. So I don't have that right to say that I'm an attorney. I have all that. I don't have any of that. But what I do have is my heart, my mind, and my soul that tells me that if I do the right thing and put one foot in front of the other every day, that can be effective. And be a good man, tell the truth. And that can be effective. And those will generate solutions. Sorry to elaborate so long on that, but.
I don't know that this is,
Okay.
but it just seems to me from what I read, listen to, study about, is there's this sense of, even from the right, of a lack of fairness. And so equating that, I am listening to you.
Yes, ma'am.
And I want to treat you as fairly as I would like for you to treat me.
Yes, ma'am.
And I just think kind of going in that direction with some of these people will soften that hard stance a little bit where they'll listen a little bit. I mean, it's just.
Yes, ma'am.
Just from what I'm seeing and listening to and how to reach some of the ways that, some of the hard lines that people have drawn is that they kind of, yeah, you're listening, but you're judging me and not fair, so, and I think that's what we have to do sometimes, to reach across that aisle and to get that moderate, if there are any left, Republicans, to say, hey, you might be a really good.
Yeah. And to go off of that, I'm gonna tell you this, some people are afraid of change. You know that you've probably lived a longer life than I have, and you've seen it firsthand. Some people are just afraid of change. It's not easy for anyone. Such as when I go back to when I lived out of my car, I wouldn't choose that for myself, but I wouldn't take it back either because it changed something in my life. And so to backtrack that for the question that you're talking about, getting involved and showing this from the very beginning, speaking in the way I'm speaking, not trying to be fake, being who I am. First of all, that's who I am, and they're going to see that. And so when people start talking, that generates them to start speaking. But we got to let them know that we're not here. I don't have an agenda to hurt anything. I don't have an agenda to tear down Washington. I don't have a radical agenda. I don't have an Antifa agenda. I have the right thing to do agenda to progress good solutions agenda in whatever capacity that may be. But that's how we're going to reach over to the aisle and get those guys to really generate to say, man, I really do want to hear them because I am going to listen. That's all you can do, because when you listen, that's when you start talking about those things that they're talking about, because they're like, okay, I can see that. Now they may not agree on abortion. They may not agree on some of these things. And, I won't get into that with them, but I will talk about the things that we can agree on. That's where that's where we will perfect change. You know what I mean? Talk about the things that we can agree on, because I can go in a room full of Republicans and really have a good conversation with each and every one of them. But when they all sit down, they all got an agenda in place, but I won't speak on the things that are going to make us all upset and someone walk out to make a scene. I'm going to speak on the things such as education, healthcare, and infrastructure that they don't want to talk about. I'm going to talk about things that they want to talk about. You know what I mean? Because that's how we're going to win them over. They're going to say, okay, this guy understands that. And he may not understand all of it. He may not answer the way I would answer it, but he's listening and he understands that this is important to us.
You want this for your kids. I want this for my kids.
Yeah.
This is something we can work on together.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for that answer. That question too. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
So, the question I have is I'm working class.
Yes, sir.
I've been working class my whole life. What is your stance on creating a livable wage?
Yeah.
For us, for the
Mhm.
the gap in wealth is insane.
Yep.
The CEOs.
Yep.
Break our backs every day. Have to work overtime.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so first off, I want to thank you for your service, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm in the boat with you. I make $12 an hour. You get what I'm saying? I should be getting paid way more than that, but they don't see it that way. Big companies don't look at it that way. That's why you got to tax them. They got to pay their fair share. Such as we are being charged to tax us with everything, and we but not miss that payment because they'll come lock us up or whatever they'll do. We got to show that same energy to them. Not just because they can pay for their way out of things and put their money here and there so they can make it look on tax notices that they've given to this and then for that so it evens out. No, we got to tax those guys from the very beginning because they hold the majority wealth in our country, the top 1%. So that's what we got to do first of all. And I definitely want to make sure that I push that agenda that we got to tax those guys. I got to take the Bernie card. We got to tax the rich and that's not being funny. That's not me smiling. I'm serious. We got to tax those guys because they are affecting our everyday lives, whether they know it or not. And so with us generating all this work, they need to pay us what we're worth. They're making all the money, but they want to pay us less. I think that's a problem. And then another thing that I've talked on, and I'm still elaborating on it and trying to understand how I'm going to frame it and how I can work on this, but don't just like if I got elected, to be exact, I'm gonna go off script a little bit. I don't want them to, vote on and we raise minimum wage, right? But then housing goes up, your bills go up. And so now you're still back at the same level that you were when you were down here. So that's a problem. So we got to be able to address all these things from proper ownerships of properties, a lot of things that need to be addressed. And we're not trying to take from anyone, but we're trying to build this country. I grew up not ever taking a trip and going anywhere. I didn't go anywhere until I was in college. And I know a lot of students and a lot of people like that. They didn't go anywhere till they were grown, where they can make their own money to do it. I think that's a problem. We have this great world, this great nation that we just should be able to explore. But people don't make enough to go do that. People have to work that 9 to 5 and sometimes not able to see their family. I was telling Sarah this and it gets me emotional because I don't see how someone does a campaign like this with a family. Because it's not, for someone like me making $12 an hour, you expect me to make more where I can generate all my time, but I am able to generate a lot of time to this. And that just goes to speak why we are where we are, because we got people in power that make the majority of wealth that can get out and have the time to campaign, to put their message out, and people can go and vote. But whenever you're putting all these stipulations, such as they did last year or trying to do this year, and all these things with voting and everything of that nature, and where if you're caught driving someone to the polls, you're subject to, getting in trouble. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous to me. And so we got to have people that are in our corner to speak on these things. And first day in office, I will speak on those topics. I may not have them in a row, but they're going to get done when I get there, because I want to make sure that they know that that's a problem, that's a problem, and that's a problem. And we're going to put paper to pencil and type it up, put it right there, and say, these are the issues that my constituents are dealing with, that I agree on, that I know that are a problem, and I'm going to put a voice to it, because we don't have a leader there that's willing to put his voice to paper, because he has a constituency, he has a base to protect. That's a problem. So when you talk about minimum wage, I definitely agree with you, and I'm 100% with raising the minimum wage, but I also believe we got to tax the rich. We got to make people pay, and they don't like that word, so I'll backtrack to this. We got to make people pay their fair share in this country so we can all benefit from the wealth that's in it. Thank you.
I'm on the other end of that. Security things are coming along, and because where I'm at is because we have such a low minimum wage. I worked so back when wasn't a whole lot of money. Come up with 335, and so we need that money to come back for those little things too, not just that, for the whole process.
Yeah. And I agree with that. And I definitely want to see that change too. I want to make sure that Oklahomans and all of our nation is in a better hand than what it was if I get elected, because I want to make sure that I put a voice to these issues that, AOC is doing it, and a lot of other people are doing it, but they need help.
Yeah.
And so I want to get there so I can help them fight this fight to get this thing done accordingly, because we need people that care about their constituents, that you work for them, not them work for you, and make people pay their fair share, and make sure healthcare is being addressed, make sure education is at top priority, because we don't want to see the school to prison pipeline, but we want to see the school to better resources pipeline and better infrastructure pipeline. We want to see a better everything when they go to college, they can afford it pipeline. We want to change the game, but we want to change the narrative so people know that we got involved, but we got to vote good people that, believe what we believe and are willing to work and do the work day one to combat these issues at hand. So I want to thank you guys for inviting me. Thank you guys for listening. If I didn't get to all your questions, or you didn't feel comfortable with asking, feel free. I'll leave these with you. You can go to my website and check it out, but you also can send me an email. I look at the emails every morning, so I won't miss it. If I do, I will get back to you. So I want to hear what you guys have to say, and if you want to be of any assistance, I would love that. So thank you guys a whole lot. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Back to our reports really quickly. Karen, did you have an affirmative action report this month?
No, not
No?
really.
Okay.
I was at the Tulsa County Fair today. I'll be here again Monday. We need more volunteers.
If you want to volunteer, there's a link in the email that I sent you guys last week or the week before. So you can get free tickets to the fair. Just make sure you click that link. Rebecca, did you have a report this week?
I don't,
This
other
one?
than maybe I'd like people to look over the minutes.
Yes.
On the back of the agenda.
Yeah.
And then after everybody looks over, would like to make a
Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye. Anyone opposed? No? Okay, the minutes are approved. Thank you very much. Emily, our vice chair, is not here, so I will be giving the financial report for her. Today, there is $2,263.57 in our bank account. Pride went really well, she says. We had a lot of positive engagements. We were there. It was amazing. We had a lot of good people stop by, sign up for our email list. We've had a lot of people, in fact, sign up to get subscribed to our email list, which is fantastic. Let's see here. That's all she's got on her report. We'll do mine really quickly. We have a new leadership hub available for the state officers. The chairs met with the state chair. And so we've got this really cool new hub that's going to allow us to, for those counties who don't already have email, we have to admit we are very advanced as far as counties are in our state. You guys may not feel that way, and that's okay. I totally get that. But trust me, if you were next door in Nowata or next door in Osage, you would be crawling here gladly to be here with this group, because we have emails that get sent out. We have Zoom meetings. We have in-person meetings. We have picnics. We're kind of in LinkedIn. So this leadership hub, however, will allow us to do a lot more with that. And it will help us to coordinate with other counties, because we've all kind of been our little own boats in the middle of the sea, and we hope we kind of knock into each other every once in a while. And this will hopefully help us to create a better network. So look for more coming on that soon. We have a Democrat, if you haven't seen, who has entered the race for Senate. His name is Jason, it's Bollinger. He just entered a couple days ago. We have invited him already to come and speak to us. I've given him several dates from which to choose. And as soon as he accepts, which I know he will, I'll let you guys know when he will be speaking with us. We will have an entry in the Kiwanis Wreath auction this year. We did it a couple years ago with great success, and Rebecca will be doing that again this year. So look for that. That should be photographed and put into the Bartlesville or the Bean Monthly magazine. If it's really, really good, which it probably will be, because Rebecca's like a genius. We will be in the Kiwanis Christmas Parade this year, and John Weston is the chair of that committee. So if you would like to be involved in helping to create the float, please see him. He needs volunteers. They have had a meeting so far. So if you're interested in finding out more on what's already been decided and how you can help, get with John, and he will add your name to the list. Let's see here. We will not have a meeting in November or in December. We had tried to find a meeting space for early December here, and everything was already booked up. And then we had already decided November. It was kind of busy. And so what we're hoping to do is to do a service project in November instead. Perhaps we can find a family that we can help out for the holiday meal or something. So if you guys have a better idea, please reach out to me and let me know. I'd like to have something concrete set by the middle of next month so that we can do a sign up and get that stuff gathered, or do whatever it is that we decide we're going to do. And that's all I've got on my report. There are some elections coming up just after the first of the new year. In February, there will be primaries for school boards. So if you guys know of anybody that you think would be an excellent school board member, we need to put some on there. Do not assume that the ones we have are ones you like. I think we fall into that trap sometimes. They didn't have the guts to stand up for a mask mandate. They all need to go, in my opinion. So find a friend, find someone that you think would fill a good spot on there. We've got one for Tri-County, 2 for Bartlesville, 1 for Dewey, 1 for Caney Valley, and 1 for Copan. So any of those communities are fair game. Please let me know of any names. You just have to give us a name. We'll do the rest, okay? So just let us know if there's anybody promising. Any questions? Yes.
I just had a question about the precinct officer.
Yes. Yeah, so we do have some precinct officer positions available. We filled some of those at our county our county convention. We do have a lot of those still available. So if you guys are interested in that, we could definitely use you. Now, there isn't a lot of canvassing going on right now, going door to door. The party, unfortunately, is on the sidelines when it comes to primary elections. We can provide opportunities for candidates like Adam to come and speak, but we can't endorse anybody. And if you guys want to help, that's wonderful. I encourage you to get behind a candidate, pick one of them, be vocal, be loud, be involved. That's 100% awesome, but I can't do that. We can't do that as a county until one of them wins the primary. So just know that if you want to get involved, if that's the kind of thing you want to do right now until June or whatever, we may not have a lot of opportunities for knocking on doors or distributing literature or that kind of thing, but the campaigns do. So if you're interested in that, please contact one of the campaigns. We've got the two House candidates. We have a Senate candidate now. There's going to be a lot to do. So if you're interested in that kind of work, right now is the time to let us know. Hey, I want to be an officer. I definitely want to be there. Put my name on the list. We're going to be organized for that stuff soon. And when we do, we're going to need to have those names in place. That's a great question. And we have had a few of you guys reach out about those precinct officer positions. And when we have our officer meetings in the month, we approve those like butter. So it happens fast. If you want one, they're yours. We would love to have you guys come and help out.
We just added.
Yeah, we really did. Yes. And Mike, are you Mike? Yep, Mike also was interested in that, and we need to approve him as well. So if you guys are interested in joining them, please let me know. Okay, any other questions? No? If you guys have some more questions for our candidate, he's still here. Okay, don't let him go unless he answers your
I'm sorry.
questions.
Our friend, I wouldn't say our friend, my friend, Howard was also representing 3%.
Yep,
In other words, we're trying to get some Democrats.
yep.
But I'm also saying that everybody who doesn't have an email back there needs to.
Yeah, and we've got little cards back there if you
Yeah,
want to
but
get
also-
on our email address.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
We want to represent all of our.
we've been
all of our
trying to
Democrats.
send out a lot of good information in there. I know that they might be sometimes a little bit long for some of your tastes, and I'm sorry, we have a lot to tell you right now. There's just a lot going on. So we'll try and keep it as brief as possible. You know me, I don't want to make it go on forever, but I am going to make sure that you guys have all of the information that I get. A lot of times I feel like I'm just a clearinghouse for information. I get so much, and then I just have to pass it along to you guys. So that's just part of the job. Okay, any other questions? Nope. Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn our meeting? Thank you. Can I get a second? I got a second here. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed to going home? No? Okay, our meeting is adjourned. Thank you guys for coming tonight. Again, please come and ask your final questions of Adam. And if you don't mind, stacking a chair on one other chair before you leave, that would help us a lot as we put up the room. Thank you guys so much. Reach out to John if you guys want to get involved in the Christmas parade. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys for joining on Zoom. We really appreciate it. Hi, Irene.
Hi.
It's great to see you without a mask. Your beautiful smiling face, yes. Well, thank you for joining us on Zoom. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for putting on the Zoom.
Absolutely. We will
I
next
really
month.
appreciate that.
Yep, we'll have it as long as we need to. So, all right, well, you guys have a great night. Bye-bye.
Bye.